The Russian winter, 1942. Your rifle is useless against this enemy. The cold is a silent, creeping weapon that disarms you, one frozen finger at a time. Without warmth, you are already a casualty. But some soldiers fought back with a secret weapon, built from trash. Official supplies were limited, but the one thing a soldier always had was scraps. Empty ration tins, a bit of wire, and if he was lucky, a candle. From these simple components, they engineered a survival tool that official manuals never mentioned: the candle can heater. The problems were obvious. A large fire was a beacon for enemy snipers and mortars. Wood was often wet or non-existent on the open steppe, and carried fuel was for vehicles, not for warming a single soldier's hands. They needed a source of heat that was safe, efficient, and concealable. The solution was deceptively simple. By containing a single candle inside a specifically modified tin can, they transformed a feeble light source into a powerful, focused heater. This wasn't just a candle in a can, it was a miniature furnace. Step 1. The container. Any metal can would work, but a larger ration tin was ideal. It had to be clean and dry. The metal acts as a heat exchanger, absorbing the flame's heat and radiating it outwards, while also protecting the flame from wind. Now we arrive at what is, without a doubt, the most critical step in this entire process. Everything we've done so far has been leading up to this moment, because what we do next will transform this simple can and candle into a remarkably effective heating and cooking device. It's all about mastering the physics of airflow. To understand why this is so important, let's quickly revisit the basics of fire. For combustion to occur, you need three things: fuel, which is our candle wax, heat, which is the initial flame, and oxygen, which is in the air all around us. In the open, a candle flame often struggles. It has to fight for oxygen, and the heat it generates dissipates quickly into the surrounding environment. It's inefficient. But by placing it inside our specially modified can, we are about to take control of that third element, oxygen, in a very powerful way. The holes you punched at the bottom of the can serve as the engine's intake. They have a very specific job: to draw in fresh, oxygen-rich air from the surrounding environment. Cool air is denser than warm air, so it naturally stays lower to the ground. As the candle flame heats the air inside the can, a pressure difference is created. This low-pressure zone acts like a vacuum, actively pulling the cooler, denser, oxygen-filled air from outside into the base of the can, directly feeding the base of the flame where it's needed most. Simultaneously, the holes at the top act as the exhaust. As the candle burns, it produces hot waste gases, primarily carbon dioxide and water vapor. These gases are much hotter and therefore much less dense than the surrounding air, so they want to rise. The top holes give them a clear and direct path to escape. This continuous cycle of cool air entering the bottom and hot gas exiting the top creates a strong, steady draft. This phenomenon is known as the chimney effect, or stack effect. You've created a self-sustaining convection current. This constant directed flow of oxygen makes the candle burn hotter, cleaner, and far more efficiently than it ever would in the open air. The flame becomes stable, focused, and intense. In essence, you are turning the can into a miniature rocket stove. This is a highly efficient design that maximizes heat output from a minimal amount of fuel. By simply punching a few holes, you've engineered a system that harnesses the fundamental principles of thermodynamics to create a powerful tool from the most basic materials. This is the secret to its success. Assembly is simple. Secure the candle at the bottom, light it, and for a moment, it will be a normal candle. Then, as the can heats up, watch the physics take over. The flame will grow in intensity, fueled by the efficient draft. You now have a steady, wind-resistant source of heat. The difference is dramatic. A lone candle struggles to warm your palms. The candle can produces enough heat to warm a small enclosed space like a foxhole or snow trench, melt snow for water, and even heat a meal. It turns a source of light into a source of life. To truly appreciate the genius of this simple device, we first need to understand a little about the physics of heat. Heat moves in three primary ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. An open candle flame on its own is a classic example of convective heat. It warms the air directly around and above it. This heated air, being less dense, rises and quickly dissipates into the colder surrounding atmosphere, especially in a larger room or a drafty space. It's an incredibly inefficient way to warm a person or an object unless you are practically hovering directly over the flame. Most of the energy is simply lost to the ceiling. This is where the magic of the terracotta pot comes into play. The science is simple, but brilliant. The metal can absorb the candle's heat and re-radiates it as infrared energy, much like a radiator. This process transforms the candle from an inefficient convective heater into a highly effective radiant heater. Think of the sun. It doesn't heat the vacuum of space. Instead, it sends out infrared waves that travel millions of miles and only release their energy as heat when they strike an object, like the Earth, or you on a sunny day. The clay pot acts like a miniature sun in your room. Instead of just heating a column of air that immediately escapes, it broadcasts warmth in every direction. This radiant heat is far more effective at warming objects and people nearby than the convective heat from an open flame. The infrared waves travel through the air and are absorbed by your skin, your clothes, the furniture, and the walls, warming them directly. These warmed objects then begin to radiate their own heat, creating a gentle, pervasive warmth that fills the entire space. It's a fundamental shift in how the energy is used. You're not just creating a bigger flame, you're creating a better heater. You are converting the concentrated, fleeting energy of a flame into a broad, persistent, and deeply comforting warmth. This is why a small, unassuming candle can suddenly have the power to make a chilly room feel cozy and inviting. It's not magic, it's just clever, accessible science put to practical use. While it's difficult to find official documentation for a field expedient device, the principle is sound and aligns perfectly with the known ingenuity of frontline soldiers. Veterans' accounts are filled with stories of using canned heat and makeshift stoves to survive the relentless cold. As we watch this small flame burn, it's easy to dismiss what we've created. But the candle can heater is so much more than just a simple trick or a quaint survivalist gadget. It's a tangible lesson in applied physics, a testament to the power of convection and heat radiation, principles that govern our universe, captured here in a humble tin can. More than that, it's a profound symbol of human resilience. Think about the context in which this was born. The Eastern Front during World War II was one of the most brutal theaters of war in human history. It was a place where the environment itself was as formidable an enemy as any opposing army. Temperatures would plummet to unimaginable lows, and survival became a minute-by-minute struggle against the encroaching frost. In this crucible of cold and conflict, ingenuity wasn't a hobby. It was the key to staying alive. This device represents the extraordinary ability of the human mind to solve existential problems with the most minimal means. It's a masterclass in resourcefulness. Take a discarded can, a stub of a candle, a few simple tools, items that others might see as trash, and transform them into a source of life-sustaining heat. It's about seeing potential where others see waste. It's the core of innovation, stripped down to its most essential form. For a soldier on the Eastern Front, this simple device wasn't just about comfort. Comfort was a luxury that had been forgotten. This was about something far more fundamental. It was about staving off frostbite that could cost you a limb. It was about having enough warmth to keep your fingers nimble enough to operate your equipment. It was about melting snow for a precious sip of water. In the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Russian winter, where everything was frozen and bleak, this heater was a small, defiant flame of life in an ocean of ice. It was a personal sun, a tiny beacon of hope in the overwhelming darkness. It was a declaration that even in the face of immense hardship, the will to survive, to endure, and to create could not be extinguished. Each flicker was a heartbeat, a quiet rebellion against the cold and despair. The knowledge of how to create something so effective from so little is a powerful secret. It connects us to that past, reminding us of the strength and ingenuity of those who came before us. It teaches us self-reliance and the importance of understanding the world around us. And that's a secret worth remembering, a piece of history and science that remains as relevant today as it was in the darkest of winters.